Right now, all new here on the WHAS 1119 tonight, knives, guns, and stun guns. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt. A WHAS 11 News open records request reveals the number of weapons found by weapons detection systems at JCPS schools. WHAS 1119's Alexandra Goldberg and photojournalist Levi Hammer are live right now outside JCPS headquarters. And Alexandra, how new is this information that we got today?
Doug, well, we just got the data back this morning. WHAS 11 submitted an open records request after a gun was found through the weapon detection system at Male High School last month. Now, this data shows that the total number of weapons found throughout this past year is 11 weapons. And we spoke with families who are affected by gun violence on campus who say they aren't surprised by this.
That last lockdown, my daughter came home and said, I'm scared to go back to school.
2 years ago was the last year Krista Gwynn's daughter was in the classroom, now homeschooled.
As a mother, what are you supposed to do? I'm her parent. I'm her safety net. I'm her guard. I pulled out of JCPS. I felt as though JCPS could no longer do anything for me as far as protecting my child.
She was pulled out of Jefferson County Public Schools out of concern for gun violence on campus. JCPS installed these weapon detection systems last year to catch weapons before they came in. Through a WHAS 11 News open records request, we learned that since last school year, 10 total weapons were found, 7 knives, 2 stun guns, and 1 handgun confiscated at PRP High School in February. A total of 11, including a gun found in a student's backpack at Male High on September 11th, which was not included in the records.
1 weapon is too much, but 11, honestly, I think it's low, but that's still too many.
I thought they would have been a little higher, to be honest.
Will Pitts is an anti-gun violence activist, and his cousin was critically injured in a shooting at PRP High School near this football game on Sunday.
These kids are taking it upon themselves to play God and to eliminate other individuals off the planet Earth, and it's not acceptable.
He says the weapon detection systems in JCPS schools are a step in the right direction.
What you see is actually true. So people are actually dying. People are actually getting shot. You know, so you have to put these type of things into place.
Well, JCPS says that their goal is to install these weapon detection systems at all high schools and middle schools in the district to continue to catch these concealed weapons. Live at Van Hoos, Alexandra Goldberg, WHAS 11 Night Team on your side. Doug?
All right, revealing information. Thank you, Alexandra. And we're also learning more about the shooting of the 2 teenagers nearby the PRP High School football game on Sunday night. Police today confirming there were several shooters during this incident. Our sports reporter Mason Horodisky was there that night covering the game. This is his video between PRP and Male and caught the chaos when the shots rang out. 2 teenage boys were shot. 1 is still in the hospital, listed as critical. Today, Metro Police Chief Paul Humphrey said LMPD and JCPS police are working together on the case, but they don't have a motive.
We have some pretty good information about some things that happened. We do have some good video. But as far as the motive and the known relationship between the 2 parties, I don't know that.
Humphrey noted that the suspects were wearing masks, which is what led to the mayor calling on the reinforcement of a decades-old public mask ban.
I'm not interested in prosecuting guardians, custodians, parents, or whatever it is under the provisions of endangering the welfare of a minor. But I will say this. If we get to that stage, you don't want to test my resolve.
Strong words from the county attorney today as JCPS is looking to a new Kentucky law and the Jefferson County prosecutor to help crack down on chronic absenteeism in our schools. Today, the county attorney, Mike O'Connell, threatening legal action for parents and guardians. Well, JCPS says a quarter of students had 15 or more unexcused absences last school year alone. This past legislative session, Kentucky lawmakers passed a new bill that would punish the parents and guardians of these students with a $500 fine or even jail time. WHAS 11 Night Team's Clarice Shaley is talking to parents tonight. And Clarice, this became law back in April.
Yes, Doug, this law applies to students grades K through 12, but is handled differently depending on the grade. I spoke to a JCPS parent tonight about this new law, and he thinks it's a bit excessive.
She likes school.
John Nichols has a second grader in Jefferson County schools.
So if we're running a few minutes late or whatever, like she's starting to get a little stressed. So yeah, she's definitely cognizant of being there on time.
He tells us his daughter had 12 absences from sickness and other life events, resulting in a call from a school staff member over truancies. But with a new state law, an additional 3 or more absences could result in the school taking him to court. Parents could face a misdemeanor, which also carries up to a year jail time and or a $500 fine.
I mean, the idea of dragging parents into court is just not a very good look. You know, especially at like something like 15 over the course of a year. I do think it would just make the problem a lot worse.
In the last few years, truancy has increased at JCPS. Last year, 24% of students had 15 or more days of unexcused absences, compared to 11% in the 2018-19 school year.
When a student is chronically absent, the chances of them being successful in school or proficient on state accountability tests or really any measure we have make it nearly impossible for the student to be successful.
Intervention is offered at schools such as counseling, parent conferences, and family team meetings. Jefferson County Attorney Mike O'Connell's office will prosecute. He believes the law is an eye-opener.
Who may be chronically absent because even the most conscientious elementary school student still needs the assistance of an adult to regularly get to school.
While Nichols hopes taking the parent to court is used as the last resort.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think of a more proactive, like setting some goals and trying to get the kids into school before using the legal system. So yeah, I definitely just want to understand that more and just what the process, like when do they actually pull the trigger versus using like counseling and come up with.
Of course, absences need to be filed correctly with the appropriate documentation, such as a doctor's note if the child is sick. O'Connell did say he believes his office will find some of these cases are due to a lack or an incorrect documentation. 22 JCPS cases are being referred this week concerning this issue. Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 Night Team, on your side.
Makes me worry about them not having somewhere to lay their heads, because I do. But also you need to be concerned about your community and your children, and your neighborhood comes first.
And the boards went up today. A well-known, some say notorious, Shively motel is ordered to close its doors and shut down immediately. People staying at the motel were ordered to leave the property today, an order from Metro Louisville. Well, the Louisville Manor Hotel, located right off Dixie Highway, was ordered to close by Louisville Metro Codes and Regulations after reports of theft, assault, and drug-related activities at that property. The motel tried to appeal, but as WHAS 11 Night Team's Alex Dederer and photojournalist Aspen Hester found out, the appeal was denied, and it's a relief to neighbors.
Boarded up doors and windows. An order from the city, and the boards went up immediately. Residents kicked out of the Louisville Manor Motel. Its doors shut for good.
That needs to be shut down.
The Shively Motel was ordered by the Metro Department of Codes and Regulations in September to close for being a nuisance, citing drug use, prostitution, assault, and theft. But the motel stayed open while the owners appealed the closure. In a Metro Codes and Regulations hearing Wednesday, the attorney for Louisville Manor tried to dismiss the case, stating the motel was not given proper notice of violations.
Major is testifying about a variety of alleged incidents that there's no notice of violation, there's no incident report.
The council ordered the motel to shut down immediately. The motel's attorney said they plan to appeal in district court.
And I hate to hear that somebody's not going to have a spot to lay their head, but that needed to end because it was bad all the way around, all the drugs that go on up there.
Crystal Corbin has lived down the street from the motel for years.
The riffraff that comes through here, and I think a lot of it comes from that hotel, it devalues our property around here. Because like if my house was for sale and people seen that, they wouldn't want to buy that.
The Shively Police Department says officers responded to over 200 calls to the motel just this year. Neighbors of the motel say it hasn't always been like this.
I got my driver's license. I came over here. This is it was like a brand new place. And I felt like home. Now you felt like a piece of trash.
A vacant and boarded up motel now sitting off Dixie Highway. Corbin wants to see it replaced with something that would benefit her community.
Like a community health center, something there for these people here to get resources.
A closed motel, leaving neighbors breathing a sigh of relief. In Shively, Alex Dieterer, the WHAS11 night team on your side.
And right now, all news at 6 o'clock. New Chapel EMS has filed a new lawsuit against Jamie Knoll, the former sheriff, and his estranged wife and daughter in Clark County, Indiana. The latest lawsuit is looking to recover more than $4 million that was spent illegally. The lawsuit accuses Jamie Knoll, Misty, and Casey Knoll of using New Chapel's funds and credit cards to pay for thousands of purchases. That includes buying designer clothes, cigars, an airplane, and a Kentucky Derby party. New Chapel's attorneys are calling Knoll to pay back 3 times the amount New Chapel says they lost. They're also asking that Knoll and his family be prohibited from selling any asset purchased with New Chapel funds. Now, right now, only on WHAS 11 News, 12 days before the sentencing of Jamie Knoll, we talked to the prosecutor in the Jamie Knoll case today. Knoll has already agreed to plead guilty to 27 felony charges, taking a plea deal with the state. That deal, though, is contingent on Judge Larry Medlock going along with it. Medlock has asked to hear from Knoll's victims before he determines whether to accept that deal or not. In a one-on-one interview with our Travis Breeze today near Cincinnati, prosecutor Rick Hurdle told us what he's been hearing.
Many of them expressed a lot of pleasure sounds bad, but satisfaction that he is going to go to a prison system.
Some victims we spoke with, however, told us they don't believe the deal provides them real justice. Judge Medlock will hear from the victims at Knoll's sentencing hearing coming up on Monday, October 14th.